And also for the members, the committee members and staff, if you can please identify yourself before speaking. Again, we do have members of the public and for meeting minute purposes. To facilitate the public comment, we will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. When I receive indication from the Vice Chair and at the point of the agenda where public comment is appropriate, the public comment will be requested. At the direction of the Bureau, I will turn on the Q&A feature and give verbal instructions to the members of the public. So we will be displaying a screen with instructions, and we will ask members of the public if they're interested in submitting a request for public comment to simply type in, "I would like to make a public comment" in the question box. And this can be located by clicking on the icon with a question mark located at the bottom center of your WebEx screen. Again, the screen right now is indicating where you can find that icon. And again, in the Ask field type, I would like to make a public comment and send it to all of the panelists. Any other communications will not be responded to. It is not necessary to identify yourself in order to make a public comment. We will be taking the comments in the order that they are received. Also, we do limit the public comment to 2 minutes per individual, and we will be providing a time warning of 30 seconds. After that, we will be muting microphones and moving on to the next member of the public. Please note that the Q&A feature is only being used as a means for the members of the public to represent that they would like to make a verbal comment. Once unmuted, the member of the public may verbally state their actual comment or question. This is not a means to ask questions of the moderator. Such inquiries submitted will not be answered. They will be dismissed. If any attendees utilize a profane name, display name, or profane language, they will not be called upon, and if they're already speaking, they simply will be muted. While you are free to express your criticism or negative views, for the sake of the members, we do ask that you please do not use profane language when making public comment. And this is the introduction from the moderator. I will be passing it on to the Bureau, to the Vice Chair of the Advisory Committee. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Wendy Hatch, the Vice Chair of the Professional Fiduciary Bureau Advisory Committee. I'm calling this meeting to order at 10:11 a.m. This meeting is being held on Wednesday, June 17th, 2020, via WebEx teleconference with no physical public location pursuant to Governor Newsom's Executive Order N-29-20, issued on March 17th, 2020. Our WebEx moderator, did you have anything more to explain about the meeting?
Not at the moment, thank you.
We'll go on to item number 2. At this time, I would like to ask Angela to call roll to establish a quorum.
Good morning. Okay, so if you are present at the meeting, please answer that you are present. Wendy Hatch.
Present.
Jim Moore.
Present.
Chi Elder.
Present.
Bertha Sanchez.
Present.
Thank you. With 4 members present, we do have a quorum for the meeting.
Thank you, Angela. Item number 3. Before I get started, I'd really like to thank Catherine Thompson and Mr. King G for their service on the advisory committee. And I'd like to welcome Chi Elder, a public member that was appointed by the Senate Rules Committee. And I have it down as Bertha Hayden, that is a nonprofit that was appointed through the governor. So welcome. So item number 3, I would like to ask the committee members, bureau chief, staff, and legal counsels to introduce themselves.
Well, I guess I'll start. This is Chris Chanyu, DCA Legal Counsel.
Hi, this is Rebecca May. I'm the Bureau Chief.
Angela Quadra, the Program Analyst for the Bureau.
Alex?
Sorry, I apologize, folks. This is Alex Millington. I'm a regulatory counsel, and I'm working with the Bureau. Thank you.
Bertha? Bertha, are you there?
Yes. Hello, my name is Bertha Sanchez Hayden, and I'm with Batsedic Legal Services and a newly appointed member.
Thank you. Bianca? How about Carrie? Okay, Chai?
Good morning. My name is Chi Elder, and I'm a public member newly appointed to the committee.
Welcome. And then whoever's next on the list, Jim, do you want to go next?
I am Jim Moore. I'm a professional fiduciary, and I am on the board.
Thank you. Bianca, are you there?
Yes, sorry about that. I had a headphone issue. But my name is Bianca, and I am the legislative analyst with the Department of Consumer Affairs.
Thank you. Carrie?
This is Carrie Holm, Deputy Director, Board and Bureau Relations at DCA.
Anybody else? I can't see the rest of the list. So if you would like to introduce yourself, that would be great. Tracy? You're the last one.
Good morning, Tracy Montez, Division Chief with Programs and Policy Review for the department.
Thank you. Now I got to get up to my microphone. I'm sorry. Item number 4, Rebecca, will you please read the Bureau's mission statement?
Thank you, and my apologies for being so slow, trying to toggle between screens. This is Rebecca May, the Bureau Chief, and our Bureau statement is as follows: to protect consumers through licensing, education, and enforcement of the Professional Fiduciaries Act by promoting and upholding competency and ethical standards across the profession.
Thank you. Is there any comments from the committee members? Hearing none, to allow the committee significant time to conduct its full schedule of business, public comments at the end of each agenda item will be limited to 2 minutes apiece. Is there any public comment for this item?
This is the moderator. Before we open up the Q&A, I would like to inform the members of the public that the hand-raising feature is being reserved for the committee members and Bureau staff to be able to facilitate the discussion of today, but we are opening up the Q&A feature at this moment. And that is how you will be participating in today's public comment. So at the direction of the Bureau, I have opened the Q&A. If you would like to make a public comment, please click on the icon with a question mark located at the bottom center of your WebEx screen. I am sharing the instructions on the screen for your reference. In the Ask field, typically in the lower right of your WebEx screen, type, I would like to make a public comment, and send it to all panelists. Any other communications will not be responded to. Please note that the Q&A feature, again, is not going to be utilized for any other communications other than the request to submit a public comment. Once unmuted, you can verbally state your comment. I will be pausing for a moment to allow for requests to come in.
Moderator, do we have any public comment wanting to speak?
Yes, Vice Chair, we have not received any requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. It has been closed.
Item number 5. Are there any suggestions, edits to the August of 2019 meeting minutes for the committee members? Having no raised hands or people speaking up, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Jim, can you make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from August 14th, 2019.
Is there a second for the motion?
Second.
Identify yourself, please.
Bertha Sanchez Hayden, second.
Any discussion from committee members?
This is the moderator. I see that she has her hand up.
Who's she?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I do have some questions regarding the minutes from the August 14th meeting. I just wanted to hear if we have an update on the results of the discussion around the budget related to funding for enforcement with a possible increase.
Hi, this is Rebecca May. Thank you so much for your question, T. We will discuss the budget in item number 7 on the agenda. So we'll get to it in a little bit, and we can just have a broader discussion at that time.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment? And moderator, can you open the public comment section?
Yes, this is the moderator. I will be opening it up right now. So if you would like to make a public comment, simply type in, I would like to make a comment in the ask field and send it to all panelists. The instructions are on the screen for your reference. And I'll be pausing for a moment to allow members of the public the opportunity to access the Q&A feature. Vice Chair, no requests were submitted. Actually, let me take that back. A request was submitted. So an individual identified as Linda Kincaid has requested public comment. Linda, I'll be unmuting your microphone, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak. After that, I will be giving you a 30-second warning and then muting your microphone. Just a moment here to locate your mic. And Linda, you have been unmuted.
Thank you. My comment was on the mission statement, and I wasn't able to get the question part of the meeting to work at that point. I finally got it to work, so I'll jam my comment in here. The mission statement says that the PFB's mission is to protect consumers. Yet licensees routinely imprison and isolate their conservatees. Licensees plunder the estates of their conservatees. And in some cases, licensees even kill their conservatees. In each case we report, the PFB found no violation against the license. My question, will the PFB create a training program to train licensees that protecting consumers requires not imprisoning and isolating them, not stealing from them, and not killing them? Will the PFB put the training program on the agenda for the next meeting and report back to the public at the next meeting? Thank you.
Thank you. At this moment, we haven't received any further requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature, Vice Chair?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. It has been closed.
Angela, please call for the roll call.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion to accept the minutes from the August 14th, 2019 meeting as written. And there was a second on that, and I'm going to take a vote by roll call. Your yes vote will approve the minutes to be posted as written. Wendy Hatch?
Yay.
Jim Moore?
Approved.
She Elder?
Yay.
And Bertha Sanchez Hayden, I apologize for leaving off part of your name earlier.
Yay.
Okay, with 4 members voting to approve the minutes without changes, the minutes are approved and will be posted to the Bureau's website.
Thank you, Angela. Item number 6. I would like to invite the Department of Consumer Affairs executive staff to present their update.
Good morning, Vice Chair Hatch, committee members, and Bureau Chief May. It's a pleasure to be with you today. My name is Carrie Holm, Deputy Director, Board and Bureau Relations at the Department of Consumer Affairs. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to introduce myself and provide an update to the Professional Fiduciaries Bureau. I want to extend a special welcome to the committee members who are here for their first meeting, She Elder and Berta Sanchez Hayden. Congratulations on your appointments and welcome. It's my first meeting as well. I was appointed by Governor Newsom to serve as the Deputy Director for Board and Bureau Relations beginning just June 1st. I look forward to working with Director Kim Kirkmeyer and all the boards and bureaus to improve consumer protection in California. As you know, in January, Governor Newsom appointed Lourdes Castro Ramirez as the new Secretary of the Business Consumer Services and Housing Agency. Secretary Castro Ramirez assumed the position effective March 2nd. Previously, she served as the president of the University Health Systems Foundation. In addition, on March 5th, Governor Newsom appointed Jennifer Simoes as the department's Deputy Director of Legislation. And finally, on April 16th, Christine Lally was appointed by Governor Newsom as the Chief Deputy Director of DCA. Ms. Lally most recently served as Deputy Director of the Medical Board of California. Prior to that, she was Deputy Director of Board and Bureau Relations at DCA. I have some big shoes to fill. I'd like to give you an update on DCA's closures in response to COVID-19. As you know, over the past few months, COVID-19 has altered the way DCA does business now and the way we will do business in the future. Thank you for continuing to serve. DCA temporarily closed all offices to the public in March as a response to state and local stay-at-home orders to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. DCA and the boards and bureaus within DCA have implemented telework plans to allow individuals who can perform their duties outside the office to do so. And we've required physical distancing for those employees who cannot telework. The licensing and enforcement functions at the boards and bureaus are continuing to take place, though some of it is done remotely. I'm happy to report that following a detailed risk assessment and implementation of a COVID-19 prevention plan, DCA offices just reopened to the public on June 15th. DCA has implemented preventative measures to safeguard the health and safety of our employees and visitors. We're also looking at identifying areas where changes could be made on an ongoing basis for some process efficiencies. DCA has been busy issuing waivers to maintain a licensed workforce during COVID-19. To date, DCA has issued 24 waivers ranging from continuing education requirements, telehealth requirements, and licensure reinstatements. I'd like to give you an update on website ADA compliance. DCA is continuing its ongoing effort to encourage boards and bureaus to bring all web postings, including meeting materials, into compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA. Just like the laws that govern physical accessibility, California government code requires state agencies to make websites accessible to people with disabilities. DCA's Office of Information Services, or OIS, is continuing to find ways to bring all boards and bureaus into compliance with state law by having all the old documents converted to ADA accessible web documents by the end of this year. Further, it's continuing to work with boards and bureau staff to ensure that all documents posted on DCA's websites are compliant moving forward. Currently, OIS is offering ADA remediation training to DCA staff to educate them about the process of converting web documents for ADA accessibility. So even while exercising social distancing and teleworking, staff is still working towards this goal. Now, for board members, DCA is offering an opportunity to complete board member orientation training while safely maintaining social distancing. We will be offering the next training as a live online training over 2 half-day sessions, July 21st and 31st, via WebEx, just like this meeting. The half-day sessions will be held from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on both dates. As a reminder, newly appointed and reappointed board members are required to take this training within a year of the appointment date. DCA has an amazing training team in the Solid unit, and we've gotten great feedback from the first online training. To register and for more details, you can visit dca.ca.gov and find the DCA Board Member Resource Center. In addition, new members need to complete a Form 700 and sexual harassment prevention training. If you have any questions or need any help from DCA, please don't hesitate to reach out. Board and Bureau Relations is here to help. Thank you so much again for inviting me to your meeting. I look forward to the day when we can meet in person. Moderator, that's it for me.
Thank you. We'll turn it back to the Vice Chair. Wendy, if we can do a quick mic check to make sure the microphone is...
Sorry. I would like the moderator to please open it for public comments.
Okay, this is the moderator. I'll be opening up the Q&A feature at the direction of the Bureau. If you would like to make a comment, simply type, "I would like to make a public comment," in the Ask field located at the lower right of your WebEx screen. Once that has been opened, the instructions are on the screen for your reference. Any other communications will not be responded to. I will pause for a moment to allow the members of the public time to access the Q&A feature. And I do see we have a request submitted from individual identified as Lisa Colin Fowler. I'll be unmuting your microphone here shortly. You'll have 2 minutes to speak, and we'll be giving you a 30-second warning. Lisa, your microphone has been unmuted.
Hi, nice to meet all of you. I am new to this, but I did look at the mission where it says that it's to protect consumers through licensing, education, enforcement of the professional fiduciary by promoting and upholding competency and ethical standards across the profession. So I'm calling in because I haven't experienced the protecting of consumers or the my fiduciary providing ethical standards in my situation. So I'm just hoping that we can focus on taking care of the elderly and doing so with nurturing tactics rather than attacking tactics.
Any other public comment? And since my mic was turned off, is there any comments from the committee members? Okay, well, thank you, Ms. Holmes. I appreciate your report. Moderator, if you can close up the comment screen.
The Q&A feature has been closed. Thank you.
Item number 7. I would like to invite the Department of Consumer Affairs Budget Office to present the budget update. Do we have someone from the Consumer Affairs Budget Office?
Hi, yes. I don't know if you guys can hear me. This is Carrie Munoz. I'm the budget manager for DCA.
Okay, we can now.
Okay. So I am actually the budget manager. We were expecting our budget analyst, but he got tied up on something. So I'm going to be here to support and answer any questions that you guys may have. I'll go over your projection report and your fund condition. Looking at your projections and your fund condition, the board is still is at a 4% reversion at the end of the year, and it looks like you guys are holding tight, staying similar to what you guys have expended for the last few years. I don't see any concerns with your budget appropriation at this time. And your fund condition, the second document, does show that you guys are showing a slight decrease in months in reserves, and that's something that the budget office will continually monitor. But again, I don't see any concerns with your budget or your fund at this time. But again, I am stepping in. I would love to answer any questions that you guys might have regarding your budget at this time.
Any comments from the committee members? Moderator, will you please open for public comment?
Yes, this is the moderator. I will be opening up the Q&A feature as directed by the Bureau. Members of the public, if you're interested, please type in, "I would like to make a public comment" in the Ask field and submit it to all panelists. The instructions are on your screen for your reference. I do have an individual identified as Linda Kincaid who's interested to make a public comment. Linda, I'll be unmuting your microphone here shortly. And your microphone has been unmuted.
Thank you. Linda Kincaid with the Coalition for Elder and Disability Rights. There is widespread lack of understanding of conservatives' right to visitation, especially within PFB licensees. Would PFB budget funding to train licensees on the conservatives' right to visitation? And would the PFB place that item on the agenda for the next meeting and report back to the public? Thank you.
Thank you. At this moment, we haven't received further requests for public comment. Vice Chair, would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. And I want to thank Karen Munoz. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so we're going to move on to section item number 8. I would like to invite the Department of Consumer Affairs Legislative Review Office to present the legislative update.
Good morning. My name is Bianca Angulo. I am the current legislative analyst from the Department of Consumer Affairs assigned to the Professional Fiduciaries Bureau. Before I get into the 2020 legislation, I want to give an update on the current state budget vote. This Monday, June 15th, was the deadline for the legislature to pass the California budget for the next fiscal year. The state of California is currently facing a projected budget deficit of $54 billion, which is about 37% of the general fund. This Monday, the legislature passed a placeholder budget with a plan to amend the budget through follow-up measures. This is a placeholder budget for 3 reasons. First, there is uncertainty over how much revenue the state will bring in. Second, if there will be aid from the federal government. And third, how the legislature will come to an agreement with Governor Newsom. To address the first point, tax collection deadlines were delayed until July 15th, and this creates uncertainty because the state does not have a clear picture of how much money it will have to spend. Second, the current budget framework has a trigger process. The legislature is currently holding off on any cuts until October in the hopes that the federal government will come through with a bailout package. However, this is also uncertain. And then lastly, as stated before, the legislature and Governor Newsom are currently at odds in how to resolve the deep budget hit as a result of COVID-19. So the budget is a bit uncertain and will not be finalized for some time. In reference to the legislative calendar, the impact of COVID-19 forced the legislature to take an early and extended spring recess. The Assembly returned to the Capitol before the Senate, and that is reflected in the different deadlines each House has adopted. However, the two legislative calendars will synchronize when their summer recesses have ended, and that will be on the date of July 13th. The Assembly will begin summer recess on June 19th this Friday, and the Senate will begin their summer recess on July 2nd. They will both return on July 13th and commence with a synchronized calendar. So now I'm going to get into the 2020 legislation. This is in the meeting materials, and I will read the summary and provide an update as of June 2020. AB 1263 by Assemblymember Lowe. This is Contracts, Consumer Services, and Consumer Complaints. This bill would prohibit contracting for or to propose to contract for an agreement to not file a complaint with a licensing board or to participate in a license board's investigation into a licensee for consumer service. The June 2020 status is the same. It is in the Senate pending committee referral. AB 1396 by Assemblymember Obernolte. This bill authorizes a court to order a restrained party who abused an elder or dependent adult or to attend clinical counseling or anger management courses. As of June 2020, this bill was chaptered in October 2019. AB 1616 by Assemblymember Lowe. This bill would require programs under the Department of Consumer Affairs that post information on their website regarding an individual's license being revoked due to a criminal conviction to post notification of the expungement order for current licensees or remove information about the revoked license within 6 months of the program receiving an expungement order related to the conviction for individuals that are not currently licensed. As of June 2020, this bill is still in the Senate pending committee referral. AB 2430 by Assemblymember Nazarian. This bill would require professional fiduciary licensees to have 1 hour of instruction in a lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender cultural competency beginning January 1st, 2022. As of May 2020 and June, this bill has been held and is no longer moving forward. AB 2657 by Assemblymember Mainshine. This bill would allow adult protective services to share relevant information with a federal law enforcement agency investigating a known or suspected case of elder or dependent adult abuse. This bill would also permit the adult protective services to share relevant information with a local code enforcement agency investigating a property where the health and safety of an elder or dependent adult resident is at risk. As of June 2020, this bill is no longer moving forward. SB 303 by Senator Wieckowski. This bill imposes a higher standard for the sale of a conservatee's personal residence and limits the amount of compensation that may be paid to a guardian, conservator, or attorney from a ward or conservatee's government benefits. This bill was chaptered October 2019. SB 338 by Senator Waso. This bill establishes the Senior and Disability Justice Act, which requires a local law enforcement agency that adopts or amends its policy regarding senior and disability victimization after April 13th, 2021, to include information and training on elder and dependent adult abuse. This bill was chaptered October 2019. SB 496 by Senator Morlock. This bill adds broker-dealers and investment advisors to the categories of persons who are mandated reporters of suspected abuse of an elder or dependent adult, allows mandated reporters who report suspected abuse to notify a trusted contact person previously designated by the elder or dependent adult for that purpose as specified, and allows mandated reporters to temporarily delay requested account transactions and disbursements of elder or dependent adults. This bill was chaptered September 2019. And that's it for me.
Does anybody have any comments from the committee members? I have one. That one about anger management, has it ever been thoroughly ironed out? Well, this is Wendy Hatch. Thoroughly ironed out how they are planning on running the classes. I think it was AB 1396. The bill authorizes the court to order a restraining party who abuses the older to attend clinical counseling. Have they figured out what how they're going to structure that, and who's going to release it, and how long they have to complete the course or anything like that?
You know, I don't have any information about that since I'm not an expert in that area, but if I can do some research if you'd like and provide an update at the next board meeting.
Okay, that would be great. Is there any other committee member that has a comment? Moderator, could you please open it up for public comment?
Before we do that, I do see that Chi does have her hand up. Chi, if you would like to make a comment.
Yes, thank you. This is Chi Elder. So I've got a question about AB 2657. You said that that was no longer moving forward. Why? I'm just curious as why that is no longer moving forward. That was, I think, to share relevant information between law enforcement and the Bureau.
So when COVID-19 impacted the legislature, both houses were directed to reduce their bill load and focus on COVID-19 related legislation. So a lot of bills were dropped, not because that it was a bad bill, but because of COVID-19, and a lot of those bills will come back next year. So
okay, thank you.
Just failed a deadline, yeah.
Any other questions or concerns from the committee? Hey, moderator, can you open it up for public? Thank you.
Yes, this is the moderator. I will be opening up the Q&A feature here on the direction of the Bureau and members of the public. If you're interested in making a comment, please type "I would like to make a public comment" in the ask field and send it to all panelists. Any other communication will not be responded to. And here I do have an individual identified as Linda Kincaid who would like to make a public comment. Linda, I apologize here. I will be finding your microphone here and unmuting you in a second, Linda. You do have 2 minutes. You have been unmuted.
Thank you. Linda Kincaid, Coalition for Elder and Disability Rights. I have a comment on SB 338. This bill expanded the penal code definition of abuse, including false imprisonment and forced isolation as forms of abuse. Those actions are common, almost routine, among conservators and licensees. Question: will the PFB create a training program specifically focused on the conservatee's right to visitation? And will the PFB put that training program on the agenda for the next meeting and report back to the public? Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our next member of the public, identified as Jerry Desmond. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the pronunciation there. I will be unmuting your microphone. You have been unmuted.
Thank you. Jerry Desmond, representing the Professional Fiduciary Association of California, PFAC, and hello to everybody. And a comment on one piece of legislation that PFAC is supporting that we think is a great bill. It's SB 1016 by Senator Wieckowski. It would require appointed counsel for a proposed limited conservatee to advocate for the expressed interests of the proposed limited conservatee, and would authorize counsel to consult with any other person knowledgeable regarding the proposed limited conservatee to assist in interpreting the expressed interests of the proposed limited conservatorship. The bill would also restrict the appointment of a conservator of the person for a person with a developmental disability to a limited conservatorship. I believe the bill is moving forward, and want to make sure that we bring that to the attention of the advisory committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair, no further requests were submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, thank you for the report and the comments. Thank you. Going to item number 9. Rebecca May, could you please present the Bureau's update?
Thank you so much for the introduction. This is Rebecca May, Bureau Chief, and I will be providing our application, licensing, and enforcement statistics. From July 1st, so we're tracking, for the purposes of this meeting, our statistics from July 1, 2019 through April 30th of 2020. In that time, for enforcement, we have referred 6 cases to the Attorney General. We have issued 29 citations. We have received 127 complaints We have closed 78 complaints. On April 30th, we had 95 complaints pending, and the average number of days to close complaints is at 168 days. For our licensing statistics, same time frame, July 1, 2019 through April 30th, 2020, we have issued 47 new licenses. We have 767 active licensees, and we have received 88 new applications. And as of July 1, my apologies, as of April 30th, 2020, since the inception of the Bureau and the first licenses issued July 1, 2008, we have issued 1,164 licenses. So moving on to our outreach events, we've had quite a few since our last advisory committee meeting. We attended the Yolo County Senior Resource and Crime Prevention Fair in October, and that was in Davis. We attended the Dixon Senior Resource Fair in October. Ken Cooley, Assembly member, held a resource fair in Carmichael in December. We also went to a February 20th event at the Davis Senior Center. And Angie drove, or actually I was there in Reading on March 4th at the Shasta County Annual Senior and Veteran Fraud Prevention Fair. And a couple weeks ago, I attended the Davis Kiwanis Club event on WebEx. And we don't have any upcoming events presently. I am always interested in finding out if there's events that you think Bureau staff should be attending. Please drop me an email. I'm happy to consider going, presuming that schedules allow. I know now a lot of meetings are being held online like we're doing today, so that's a very easy way to attend. So again, if you hear of anything, please let me know. And moving on to the newsletter. So I admit that I have been remiss in getting the newsletter out, which is unfortunate because it's a great way of communicating with our licensees and the public. And frankly, it's a project I really enjoy working on. So if the committee members have any suggestions for segments that they would like to see in the newsletter, any questions that they would like to see answered, I am very open to any suggestions that you might have for making the newsletter better. So I will hand it back to you, Wendy. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca May. Is there any comments from the committee members? Moderator, do you see any hands up from the committee members?
No hands up from the committee members.
Can you please open it up for public comment then, please?
Yes, I will be opening up for public comment on the direction of the Bureau. Members of the public, if you're interested, please type in, I would like to make a public comment. In the ask field and send it to all panelists. Any other communication will not be responded to. Again, the instructions are on your screen for your reference. I do have individual identified as Linda Kincaid who would like to make a public comment. Linda, I will be unmuting your microphone at this moment. You have been unmuted.
This one is simple. Would the PFB use the newsletter to educate licensees on the Conservancy's right to visitation? Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to individual identified as Richard Calhoun. Again, I apologize for mispronunciation. I will be unmuting your microphone at this moment.
I have two comments. On the newsletter, would you consider having an advocate corner where advocates could submit a column that the PFB then reviews and submits out to their membership? Additionally, a separate issue on complaints, I am confounded about the process. I have submitted multiple complaints, one of which a single licensee routinely bills for more than 24 hours in a day. I got a letter back from the PFB saying that is not a violation of any regulation. I would like I understand there's no appeal process for a person that complains and gets denied, but at the next meeting, I would like agendized how in the heck the PFB believes any of their licensees can legitimately work more than 24 hours in a day, let alone doing that repetitively without violating any regulations. Third comment that just came to me, since we're talking about complaints, the PFB does a nice job of issuing citations and findings on their website, but there are a couple hearings that are supposedly open to the public, but I'm not sure how the public finds out when and where these hearings about complaints are happening. So I think that needs to be added to the website. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. There has been no further request for public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. It has been closed.
And item number 10, Rebecca May, please present the status of the Bureau's proposed rulemakings.
Thank you so much. Again, this is Rebecca May, Bureau Chief. So at this time, the Bureau is working with the department on 3 proposed regulations, as you can see on the agenda. The first 2 are in the pre-review process, meaning that they haven't yet been filed with the Office of Administrative Law, but instead are working their way through the department and the Business Consumer Services and Housing Agency for their review and approval first. The first 2, the first one being related to establishing an inactive and retired license type, and the second related to client notification. They are both under concurrent review by both the department's legal and budget offices. And since, and then the last bullet point on the agenda, the last proposed rulemaking on the agenda is related to implementing new guidelines for the denial of a license as required by AB 2138 of 2018. This has been a very large department-wide effort as AB 2138 impacts all the licensing programs under the department. So this regulation is in its final few weeks of the process. It has been filed with the Office of Administrative Law. Bureau staff is working with the department's legal division to file our final statement of reasons with the Office of Administrative Law. And the language for this regulation can be found on the Bureau's website if you'd like to review it further. Alex Millington with the department's legal division is here with us today, should there be any questions about the regulatory process. And of course, as always, as soon as I have any updates, I will share them with the group. I also highly recommend individuals that are interested in potential regulatory changes that impact the Bureau's functions to stay up to date on the latest by signing up for our interested parties list. Thank you.
This is the moderator checking in with Vice Chair Wendy.
Sorry, I thought I had unmiked myself. Here in seeing no committee, can you please open it up for public comments?
Yes, this is the moderator. At the direction of the Bureau, I have opened the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you're interested, click on the icon with the question mark. The reference instructions are on your screen. And type in, I would like to make a public comment in the ask field, sending it to all panelists. Any other communications will not be responded to. I will pause for a moment to allow members of the public time to access the Q&A feature. Vice Chair, we haven't received any requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, thank you, and close it. Thank you, Rebecca May, for the report. Item number 11. Angela, what items have you recorded from our meeting today as future agenda items?
Thank you. I have recorded several items that we've been asked, the Bureau has been asked to consider, the Bureau and the committee have been asked to consider to place on a future agenda. The first one, several of them have to do with training. The first one is for establishing a training program for licensees, which would align with the mission statement of the Bureau. Second is to budget for training licensees on the handling of conservatorships. And third, to receive an update on AB 1396 on how the training would be handled for that bill. Fourth, the budget for training, this was in reference to SB 338, and it would be budget for training for licensees on the visitation requirements for conservatees. And then the next one is a request that the Bureau would answer how a professional fiduciary would be able to work more than 24 hours in a day. And then last was the request for the list of hearings for actions that are be taken against professional fiduciaries to be placed on the Bureau's website. Is there anything that I have missed or anything additional that the committee would like to add?
Are there any comments from any committee members that would like to add? Can the possibility of Richard's suggestion having an advocate corner be put in the newsletter? Is there any other committee member comment?
I will add that one, but so you want that actually placed on the agenda as a discussion item?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Any committee members' comments? Moderator, can you please close the committee and then open it up for any public comment?
Yes, this is the moderator. I've opened the Q&A feature for public comment at the direction of the Bureau. Members of the public, I do have the instructions on your screen for your reference. If you would like to make a public comment, please click on the icon with the question mark located at the bottom center of your WebEx screen and type in, I would like to make a public comment in the ask field, which is typically at the lower right of your WebEx screen, and send it to all panelists. Any other requests will not be responded to. Going to pause for a moment to allow members of the public time to access the Q&A feature. I have individual identified as Linda Kincaid. I will be unmuting your microphone at this moment, and you do have 2 minutes, and we will provide you with a time warning. You have been unmuted.
Since 2018, advocates have repeatedly asked the PFB to create a list of agenda items for future meetings. And way back in 2018, the PFB made a commitment to keep a list of agenda items and place them on agendas for future meetings. Who's keeping that list of items for future meetings? And how can we get a list of those items and the dates they will be placed on the agenda? And can we possibly get those items listed in the newsletter so that everyone knows when it's going to be discussed? And people who have an interest in a particular issue can be available to submit comment, perhaps in writing or perhaps verbally as we're doing now. Thank you.
Thank you. We've received requests from individual identified as Richard Calhoun. I'll be unmuting your microphone at this moment, and you have been unmuted.
Ms. Kincaid stole my thunder, so I'll make it brief. Specifically in December of 2018, and I believe it was January of 2019, the PFB agreed to put the list of future items that they couldn't fit on the next meeting on the agenda. That has not happened one single time. The second thing is probably off. I won't even go there yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Individual identified as Linda DeMar, I will be unmuting your microphone at this moment. You have been unmuted.
Hi, I'm having trouble because there's no communicate menu at the top of my screen.
I'm able to hear you. You can communicate. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So I was puzzled. I came in late and I understood that Mr. Calhoun was asking for something be put in the newsletter, and instead of answering, it sounds like it got put off until another meeting, but why would you not want to decide that now? Just to add a section to a newsletter?
This is Fred Chanyu, DCA Legal Counsel. This item is not placed on the agenda, and by law, the committee members cannot discuss items that are not placed on the agenda. That is why this item is now being considered to be put on a future agenda.
I'm sorry, you're really blunted. Your voice is really muted. All I heard was something that because of legal considerations, they can't make a decision?
This is Fred Chanyu, DCA Legal Counsel. By law, the committee members cannot discuss items that are not placed on the agenda.
You're muted. By law, the committee members, blah, 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 blah. That's all I can hear. By law, the committee members what?
By law, the committee members cannot discuss items that are not placed on the agenda. The item that Mr. Calhoun suggests is currently not on the agenda. Therefore, the committee members cannot discuss that item at this present session.
Any other public comments?
This is the moderator. I am looking through the Q&A at this moment. I do not see any new requests for public comment. Co-moderator, can you confirm that?
Confirm, I see no additional comments.
Okay.
Thank you then, Angela. I appreciate you putting that list together. Item number 12. The following dates have been selected and scheduled for the remaining of 2020. If you have a conflict with any of these dates, please call Angela Coudray. Is there any comments from the committee members? The meetings are scheduled for Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020, and Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020. Seeing no hands raised from the committee members, moderator, can you open it up for public comment?
Yes, this is the moderator. At the request of the Bureau, I've opened up the Q&A feature. Again, members of the public, the instructions are on your screen. If you would like to make a comment, type "I would like to make a comment" in the ask field and send it to all panelists. Any other requests will not be responded to. I will pause for a moment to allow members of the public time to locate the feature and submit their request.
Moderator, I do see that Linda Kincaid would like to make a comment.
Thank you. Linda Kincaid, I will be unmuting your microphone at this moment.
I think we are all absolutely confounded as to how we as advocates, activists, members of the public who actually care what happens to old people, we are just confounded as to how we can get issues to be discussed, to get issues on the agenda. And I suppose, given the recent comment that we just heard in response to Mr. Calhoun's question, you can't discuss how we get things on the agenda because that's not an agendized discussion topic. So let me suggest that in the future meeting, like maybe even the very next one, you could put on the agenda a discussion of how someone gets an item on the agenda. Or perhaps you could use your e-newsletter to inform the public as to how they can get something submitted to the agenda. Because we've gone round and round and round in this circle since 2018, and I'm starting to feel like a gerbil running round and round on an exercise wheel and never going anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. And as a reminder for the members of the public, if you do have a comment, please submit. I would like to make a comment. The hand raising feature is being reserved for the committee members and Bureau staff. So at this moment, I will pause for a moment just to see if there's any requests that will come in. So we do have a request from individual identified as Linda Demar. I will be unmuting your microphone at this moment.
So I gather that the questions can only relate to the agenda item. Is that correct? And the agenda item is the next meeting date. Is that correct?
Legal counsel, if I can get a confirmation on that.
This is Fred Chanyu, VCA Legal Counsel. The committee can only discuss items that are placed on the agenda. However, the committee can consider requests for future agenda items. So if someone would like to, propose that an agenda item be placed on the agenda at this time, the committee may consider that at this point.
And what criteria are used for whether you decide to add a discussion item to the agenda if the advocates seem to be unable to get their questions discussed or even put on the agenda? How can it be done?
That is a decision that the Bureau makes.
Right. And there's no criteria?
Any further comment?
This is the moderator. Fred, did you have any additional items to share before we move forward?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Thank you. There has been no additional or new requests for public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature, Vice Chair?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. It has been closed.
Okay, second to last item on the agenda, item number 13. The committee would like to briefly address the public comments for items not on the agenda. The public comments for items not on the agenda section is a time for the public to comment on items that are not listed on today's agenda. To allow the committee significant time to conduct its full scheduled business, public comments will be limited to 2 minutes apiece. There are a few other rules that apply. First, the California law prohibits a committee member from discussing or commenting on any matter brought up during the public comment for items not on the agenda. Also, the committee members are not allowed to take action on any items that are not on the agenda. If you want the committee to discuss a topic not on the agenda, you may ask the committee to consider placing that issue on the agenda for future meeting. However, the committee is not obligated to fulfill that request. If you have an application, complaint, or disciplinary charge pending before the Bureau, or if you are about to bring a complaint to the Bureau's attention, please do not discuss in detail of your case or complaint. That's because the Bureau's counsel reviews the disciplinary cases and is not permitted to receive evidence or information that is not part of the administrative record in the case. The committee strongly asks that you also respect the privacy of others, but not revealing the names and conditions of any individual involved in a case or complaint. In order to allow the committee significant time to conduct its full schedule of business, please do not duplicate or repeat the comments of the previous speaker. At this time, are there any members of the public who wish to address the committee or to offer an agenda item for future meetings?
This is the moderator. I have opened the Q&A feature at the direction of the Bureau. Members of the public, you do have the instructions on your screen for reference. Click on the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen and type, "I would like to make a public comment" or a comment in the Ask field, typically at the lower right of your WebEx screen, and send it to all panelists. Any other communications will not be responded to. I do have an individual identified as Richard Calhoun who would like to make a comment. Richard, I have unmuted your microphone.
Would the Bureau support my effort to have a state audit done on the performance of the PFB? The PFB came out of a 2005 investigative series out of the LA Times, resulting in the legislature acting in 2006, forming the PFB in 2007. Since 2007, there has not been an audit of the PFB. I think it's way past time, and I'm asking the Bureau to sign on as a supporter of auditing themselves. Would they consider doing that?
Hi, this is Rebecca May. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to respond, or is it because it's for items not on the agenda? Should I hold off? I guess I just wanted to chime in and say that the Bureau undergoes the sunset review process by the legislature. That it's a pretty thorough exercise that the Bureau undergoes every 4 years, where the legislature, we submit like a really long report to the legislature. They ask the questions that they want to ask, and then they decide, and we have a hearing. The legislature holds a hearing called sunset review. We go and present. It's an opportunity for the legislature to review the functions of the Bureau. And at that time, if they think that things are okay, they will extend the sunset of the Bureau. So in statute, the Bureau sunsets every 4 years is typically the time frame. And our Bureau underwent sunset review in 2017 and 2018, and our sunset was extended at that time. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the moderator. Vice Chair, we haven't received any additional requests for public comment on agenda item 13, public comment on items not on the agenda.
Thank you. Then I move to adjourn this meeting at 11:16 a.m. on June 17th. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for your patience and working out on the computer with this new program. I think we all did pretty good. Thank you.
Wendy, this is Rebecca. Thank you. You did an awesome job. Thank you so much for filling in.